Greetings, beloved. Today I'm talking about leadership. Effective, productive, and efficient leadership. This is Pastor Mulenga Chela from Christ Life Church, and I hope that you will be blessed by this powerful teaching. I believe that the Lord has called every believer to be a leader. When you look through the Bible has got example after example of men and women who were leaders. And my definition of a leader is a person who oversees other people and leads them from point A to point B. When you look at Abraham was a leader. By the time he was an old man, the Bible tells us that he got to a point where he had an army. He had so many men and women that he was leading, so much so that kings feared him. Sarah, Abraham's wife, was also a leader. She led her household. Isaac was a leader. Jacob was a leader. Joseph was a leader. Moses was a leader. Jephthah was a leader. Then examples of leaders in the Bible goes on and on and on. I therefore want to encourage you that the fact that you are a child of God means that there is something special that the Lord wants you to do. There are people that God has placed around you and He wants you to lead them. Every person who is a Christian has been called to be a leader. That's why the Bible says you will be the head and not the tail. And today I want to talk to you about being an effective leader. How can you become an effective leader? So before we go there, let's look at an example of one effective person in the Bible. We are reading from the book of Genesis chapter 39. And I love the story of this man called Joseph. The Bible reads in the book of Genesis chapter 39, and it reads in verse 1, Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian, who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph, so he prospered and lived in the house of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. And Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. So you see, Joseph gets a job as a slave, but later on ends up being the manager. He ends up being the top leader. He ends up being the top supervisor. Joseph was a great leader. Another example of Joseph leading is found in Genesis chapter 39, verse 19. The Bible reads, When his master heard the story of his wife, "This is how your slave treated me," Potiphar burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. So again, Joseph finds himself in prison, but in prison he ends up being a leader. He ends up being the head. He ends up being a manager. Listen to me. The Lord is calling you to be a manager, to be a leader, to be the head and not the tail. Wherever you might be, whether you are in prison, whether you are in a farm, whether you are in a school, whether you are in a workplace, you have been called to be a leader. And I'm going to help you learn how to become an effective, productive, and efficient leader. The last example in Joseph is after he was picked from prison, he was taken to Pharaoh's house. And there, the Bible tells us that Joseph showed great leadership by providing solutions. Leaders provide solutions. After he provided a solution, the Bible says Pharaoh was pleased and he appointed Joseph to be above the entire nation of Egypt. You see, the leadership of Joseph was growing steadily. He did not just wake up and become a great leader. He became a great leader through process, through a systematic process of being faithful, being diligent with everything that was laid before him. I want to encourage you that whatever task that you have before you, please work at it diligently. Work at it as if you are working for the Lord. Don't complain and focus about the little income that you're getting. Focus on how you can make yourself better as a result of the tasks and the responsibilities that have been given to you. Please join us in the next teaching.